This is slide number 24 and I am your presenter Asloob Mudassar. Here we would like to inspect or examine is it possible to develop a relationship between object spatial frequencies and object Fourier frequencies. Can there exist any relationship? Let's see. Being local to an object, the spatial frequencies are referred to as the local spatial frequencies. So the spatial frequencies and object will be referred to as the local spatial frequencies. For certain objects, now notice we are not talking about any object, but for certain objects there exists a relationship between the local spatial frequencies and the Fourier frequencies, and sometimes local spatial frequencies can be used to estimate the size of Fourier spectrum of the object. To establish earlier, to every single Fourier frequencies there corresponds a plane wave front extending over the entire xy plane. So if we see a Fourier frequency in the Fourier plane, it means that Fourier frequency corresponds to a plane wave front in the object plane. A point on an object cannot be related to a point or to a region of the Fourier transform plane unless the nature of the object is regular and periodic. So if we have a periodic region or a periodic object or a regular object, we can find out a relationship between some region of the object and the Fourier plane. Otherwise such a relationship cannot be found. Roughly, a portion of an object as shown in the next diagram containing regular patterns will map to some region in the Fourier plane. So now we consider the regular patterns. So you see that in the first row there is a regular patterns, in the second row there is another regular patterns but with increased spatial frequencies. In the third row there is another regular pattern but with increased Fourier spatial but with increased local spatial frequencies, and in the fourth row there is also a regular pattern and but with increased local spatial frequencies. So let's now on the right hand side we have in this black diagram we have the Fourier transform of this whole object. Now notice that in the center we have the zeroth order frequency, and around the zeroth order frequency we have shown four types of object. In the first region around the zeroth order frequency we have drawn some circular disks, and these circular disks actually correspond to the information of the first row. So the first row, when the Fourier transform of the first row is indicated by the circular disks, and you see that these are 4 in numbers. So corresponding to so these are actually 8 in numbers, 2 horizontal, 2 vertical, 2 left diagonal and 2 right diagonal. So these are the 8 circular disks, and corresponding to one pattern there are 2 circular disks located symmetric to the zeroth order frequency. And if you join any 2 circular disks about the zeroth order frequency, you will see that the line joining will be perpendicular to the lines in the corresponding object. So the first row is indicated by the circular disks. The second row has a higher frequencies in comparison with the first one and have been indicated by filled rectangular. So you see that the filled rectangular are some distance away from the zeroth order frequency as compared with the circular disks. So you can again see that these are 8 in numbers, 2 horizontal rectangular disks, 2 vertical rectangular disks, and 2 rectangular disks along the left diagonal, and 2 filled rectangular disks along the right diagonal. Then you see that in the third row, look at the third row, the special frequency is greater than in comparison with the second row. So the third one has been indicated, the Fourier transform of the third one has been indicated by diamond shape. So you can see that the diamond shapes are located away from the 0th order frequency, and these are the 8 diamond shapes around the 0th order frequency, and these diamond shapes are away from the filled rectangular discs. It means that these correspond to the higher special frequencies in the corresponding object. Now look at the fourth object in the fourth row. There are 4 objects, and the frequencies of these objects, the special frequencies or the local special frequencies, are higher in comparison with above three rows, row 1, row 2 and row 3, and we have indicated them in the shape of triangles. So their Fourier transforms have been drawn with triangular shapes in this diagram. Look at the triangles. These triangles are at the outer periphery of this Fourier transform plane, and these are further away from the diamond shapes. So again, these are 8 in numbers, 2 horizontal, 2 vertical, 2 first left diagonal and 2 in the right diagonal. So 0th order frequency is indicated in the center of the Fourier spectrum, and this corresponds to the undiffracted light reaching the Fourier transform plane. To each patch, there is a set of 2 Fourier frequencies located oppositely around the 0th order frequency. The line joining the two is perpendicular to the lines shown in the corresponding patch in the object. Circular discs, filled squares, diamonds, and triangles are used to label the Fourier transform plane. So the circular disc correspond to the correspond to the objects in the first row, filled squares correspond to the objects in the second row, diamonds correspond to the objects in the third row, and triangles correspond to the objects in the fourth row. So circular disc around the 0th order frequency corresponds to patches shown in the first row of the diagram. Filled squares around the 0th order frequency correspond to the patches shown in the second row of the object. Filled diamonds around the 0th order frequency corresponds to the patches shown in the third row of the object, and the filled triangles correspond to the 0th order around the 0th order frequency correspond to the patches shown in the fourth row of the object. Conclusion: if an object or a part of an object contains a set of lines with a definite local special frequency, the corresponding Fourier frequencies will be localized in some regions of the Fourier plane. So you see that in the previous diagram, that is in the Fourier spectrum over here, we have seen that these correspond to some specific frequencies in the object. So if the object has higher frequencies, then the Fourier object has higher spatial frequencies. The Fourier frequencies are also go away from the 0th order frequency. Now the conclusion: if an object or a part of an object contains a set of lines with a definite local spatial frequency, the corresponding Fourier frequencies will be localized in some regions of the Fourier plane. Note that from now onward, spatial frequencies will refer to local spatial frequencies, and the Fourier frequencies will refer to Fourier spatial frequencies. So here, this is the end of slide number 24.